Alrighty, Capricorn. We have, as always, some very interesting energy, especially, I just got the ill chill, especially in terms of what you're embodying. And particularly based on what I'm feeling right now in this moment, it's very much based on how you're going to move your feet and how you're going to proceed um, forward. And being that I'm going to tell you, I think money and lack of seeing additional funds flow is your biggest struggle this month. I'll remind you that Venus is going retrograde. What house it's going retrograde in is going to be dependent on your rising sign and what degree that's at and whatever. But Venus does rule money, right? And we have to know where our value system is at and how we value money and what we're willing to do for money and what it means to us and how much time we're willing to spend and all that kind of stuff in terms of all that to get in a space where money flows to us very easily. Because the Oracle card that I pulled for you guys is walking away, and it's a 9, right, of endings. And it's funny because in the bottom of the deck we have financial constraint. Your overall energy, though, is the 3 of Wands. And I feel that you have ushered in a time of new possibilities. But going through the month, and I'm hoping to see that shift when I do the mid-month readings. But going through the month, I think that you're going to have to face a lot of your core wounds. And you're going to have to face a lot of your core, I want to say, like, personality traits, which there's nothing wrong with having certain core personality traits. But you're going to have to face them in a way that you haven't before. And I do feel a little bit like this is a pride issue or an ego issue. And there's going to have to be a shift in mentality, especially when it comes to earning money and doing things that make us happy and finding that balance point of like, yes, does money makes me happy, but only to this level. And doing XYZ for money brings me to this level. Like there's things like that. Like certain things we're not willing to trade off our time for. And everybody has a price, if you will. Everybody's willing to do something for a certain dollar amount. And I think that's shifting for you. I think that the cost of your time and the cost of your presence and the cost of your sanity is shifting. Because with the 3 of Wands, you've turned your back on your old way of viewing life. And especially on a spiritual level. Again, we're walking away. These are very similar cards, except she's just turning around and looking back at her past before she takes that fool's type of leap out of that garden that she has tended to for quite some time, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's the only garden for her. And with all these new opportunities looming on the horizon, there is a tendency to feel like maybe I'm, not qualified, or maybe I, have too many, pots on the stove, or maybe I'm not ready. But behind that is the 2 of Cups, and I feel like you're opening yourself up to creating different types of relationships. And I mean relationships in the most general sense, different types of connections with people that'll serve your spirit in a lot higher way. Because for some reason, I do feel that some of you are struggling to make gains based on the company that you keep. Whether that company just wants you to spend money, right? Sometimes we hang out with people that all they ever do is spend money. Or their energy is just very heavy. So then like you get into a heavy mode and then like, getting motivated is really difficult. Things like that. Okay. The energy that you're being asked to release is the 7 of Pentacles with the rune standstill, or excuse me, not standstill. It's constraint. And the 6 of Pentacles. So I think that you've been having a really difficult time seeing the fruits of your labor, especially when it comes to the things that you give your time and energy to. Okay, whether that be you're not seeing it monetize, or you're not seeing it come with more opportunity, or you're not seeing it come with career growth, or you're not seeing it come with meeting people, having people meet you at a more reciprocal level. Because the 6 of Pentacles is also getting charity, right? And having people that help you, or you helping other people. And again, this comes back to everything has a price and everybody has a price, right? And some of us don't pay in dollars. We pay with time. We pay with our soul. We pay with our devotion or whatever. And if there's any person or ideal or power structure or perceived authority. When I say perceived authority, I mean like you just feel like there's this energy of constriction, or you just feel like there's just something bigger than you that's in control. I feel that's what's limiting your ability to really manifest physical evidence of the work that you've been putting in, because there's still people or ideals or, again, power structures that you're giving your time and energy to that are very antichrist, if you will, to your agenda. And then you're sitting there and you're like, okay, I'm waiting for my results. Or you're giving to people and you're like waiting for them to give back to you. But when we give to people, we're supposed to give in a selfless manner or in a contractual manner where they know up front, because you verbalized it, that you want XYZ in return. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can treat people like business transactions if you want to, Capricorn, but you have to be verbal about that outright, upfront, before you give anything, because that's what you would do in business. So this looming waiting energy is constricting the flow. We wait to reap a benefit that can kind of drain us. So if people aren't showing up, if things aren't showing up, if you're feeling depleted, or you're feeling like you're the glue to the whole scenario of things that you're involved in, know that the imbalance is causing a restriction in your ability to create more. However, there is a need to kind of pivot fully away from that energy in order to embody and step into a new phase, and that's where I think you're going to meet the other side of your financial constraint, which is, for some of you, it's lack mentality. Because if you're in a position where the money that you are bringing in or not bringing in is still enough to float your lifestyle, take advantage of that, and take advantage of your ability to walk away from lack mentality, or from this idea of survival skills as well. Because when we're dealing with living from the root chakra, living from the survival type of energy, we don't allow thriving in. Okay, and we don't really get to tend to our emotional body or any other needs outside of like, how can I make ends meet? I know some of us are just in that energy, and that's fine. Well, not fine, but I know sometimes we have to do what we have to do. But if you're able to start to transition away from that, this is a great time to do so. The door that's now open that was once closed is the Knight of Swords with the rune Strength and the Page of Wands. So I do feel that your voice, more than ever, is particularly strong right now. Okay? And that is like literally your strength. Like, whether it be the written word, verbalizing your words, turning your words into art, turning your words into some type of advocacy, maybe doing some type of spoken word, or this could even be like you have the power of the pen, if you will. Like you have the ability to pen something that is really powerful. This can even be as much as like if you're taking any if you're putting out your resume right now, or rewriting your resume, or applying for any jobs or having to do cover letters or going into interviews, your voice is now stronger than ever. With that being said, so that can really, really work in your favor, but it can work against your favor in the sense that if you are holding or speaking out into fruition really negative thoughts right now, they are going to permeate your experience much faster than normal. Okay, and that's not like a fearmonger type of thing. That's just what it is right now. Okay, the Page of Wands is saying that if you take an immature approach to all of this energy, and like it's like white lightning type of energy behind your words, like it's like very fast. You can strengthen the wrong energy, if you will. So now is an amazing time to really speak life into the best case scenarios and your highest ideals. Because of the Page of Wands here as well, there is a lot of energy around inspiration and wanting to take a new approach, a different chance to things that really resonate with your soul. And I feel like you're able to really chop down these old constraints and these old connections with people that just don't ever fully manifest. And it's always about like give and take, give and take, give and take, but it's like a barely type of thing. Like you're barely meeting these person's needs. These people are barely meeting your needs. And it's just too minimalistic. Now's the time to invite in more. So if you're just used to having enough, whatever it is, enough money, enough company, enough love, like now's the time to invite in excess. Okay, I do feel like that is important, and that will strengthen your voice as well. Okay. Your current energy as it relates to all of this, well, all these extra cards. In your head, we have the Chariot. In your heart, we have the Sun and the Devil. And in your foundation, we have the Fool and we have the Three of Pentacles. And on this rooted pair, we do have the rune Love. So, the phrase I just got looking at this Three of Pentacles is the house that love built. Okay, so that doesn't necessarily mean romantic love, but I do feel it's now time in your life where you do need to take a page out of someone else's book. Someone that you admire. If there's anybody in your life that you admire the way that they love life, or the way that they love other people, the way that their love language, their lifestyle, whatever it is, I feel like now's a good time to take a page out of their book and learn from them. How did they build up that amount of confidence? How did they build up that amount of assets? How did they build up that amount of self-worth in order to live a lifestyle that you find very attractive? Okay, because now is a very, very poignant time to really take risks, even though you're not by yourself. Like the risk that you may be taking is individual, like it's just for you and for your passions and for your loves. But you have plenty of people behind you that are supporting you and that are making sure that all your needs are met. Again, I feel like meeting your basic needs is not really up for debate right now. I feel like that's fine. So you do have time to learn the ropes to something new. You do have time to take chances. For some of you, you may be getting the opportunity to build up status or finances in an avenue that you really love, that you previously haven't been able to devote yourself to. With the Chariot, in your mental state, you know, it's not going to happen overnight, but I feel like you're finally ready to make emotional progress on a mental level. Meaning, I feel you're finding that logic obviously is important, right? But you're going from speaking in theory to speaking in faith, meaning what you previously only understood as like spiritual text or psychological truth, right? In a very clinical and a very studious manner, you're finally willing to apply it in a way that you haven't before. Like it's been kind of stored in your mind where you're like, hey, I know this is true, but it's not necessarily true in practice. Now I feel like you're ready to put it into practice. And the Chariot is saying that, you know, I'm willing to go the distance, and I'm willing to put in however much effort it takes, whether it takes 7 months or whether it's going to take till June of next year. I'm willing to put in that effort because I know that now is the time to walk away from anything that has been limiting me. And that's why this Sun and the Devil in your heart space is, I think, fantastic, because the Sun, right, is happiness, it's freedom, it's self-expression, it's being carefree, it's a deepened expression of the Fool, right? The Fool is just like, let it all go. I'm going to jump in, you know, head first without a care. The Sun says, I know what makes me tick. I know what I love. I know how important it is to laugh every day, to smile every day, and to prioritize joy. And Sun's also an illuminator, right? It literally, you know, enlightens everything that we cast it onto. So when we prioritize bliss, we prioritize happiness, in a lot of ways, it does shine a light on what was previously holding us back and making us feel really heavy or depressed, or, you know, our demons that be, if you will, the devil. And this is before I was talking about in the beginning about how there's certain things that are just Capricorn or just part of your personality that you're having to kind of face. And I feel like that's exactly what this is. The Sun is saying, you know, now that I've made living in the sun or being happy or prioritizing self-expression my focus, and I've put that in my heart as a priority, it's made me realize how much of my maybe natural nature it is to either be pessimistic or be attached to things. Because a little bit, I think there's a little bit of an attachment issue. And it's like sometimes we get really attached to, well, I want happiness and love and self-expression to show up this way in particular. And I feel like if any of you have struggled this month, I think that's what it's going to be. It's like, well, you have a lot of blessings to count, but there's going to be one thing that maybe not is going to come through all the way, and you're going to get a little down about it. But you have a very, very strong opportunity this month to see yourself in the heart of the divine, in your own body, in a way that you previously have not. And I feel like what Spirit is advising you over here is you're going to be able to give yourself forgiveness in renewal in a way that you previously have not. And I feel like this is a much needed, like, baptism, if you will, to remove, quote, the sins, you know, from before. And I use that super loosely. But it's a very strong shedding energy, but not in a death sense of way where you're changing who you are. It's just more of like you're purifying your current state and saying, like, I accept myself for who I am. I know that I can forgive and move on at any point without having to rapidly change. Okay? Spirit's advice for you is the Ace of Cups with the rune Victory and the Eight of Wands with the rune Disruption. So again, you know, the aces are interesting because they don't actually, they bring opportunity for new beginning, but they don't actually bring said new beginning. So I feel like you're going to successfully be able to forgive yourself and provide yourself a lot more compassion and empathy in connection than you have in a long time. And you're going to understand that every closed door and every dead stop and every person and situation that just was halting you or making you feel like you were wasting your time was showing you where to redirect your energy and showing you where it's not going to flow. Because sometimes we feed our energy into black holes, and black holes always eat and absolve everything that enters it. So, because the Eight of Wands is a lot of communication and movement and things like that. And if that's being disrupted, you know, what's it being disrupted by? The Ace of Cups. Sometimes we have to just take a pause and heal ourselves. Take a pause and drink from, you know, the fountain of youth, if you will. Drink from a place of healing and restoration. And you will be successful in that. So definitely slow down this month, because I think that you have to take one final look at what you're leaving behind before you move forward. Because sometimes we're so excited to just move on that we're not even exactly sure what we're leaving behind. And you're not taking that look behind you because you forgot something and you need to bring it with you. You're looking behind you because you need to be very, very clear with what you're leaving behind and why it doesn't serve you. Because if you don't know why you're leaving it behind and why it doesn't serve you, you can end up in a place emotionally down the road where you're like, damn, but I miss it. You have to know why you're going to miss it and why it was still the best decision to leave it behind, okay? Nothing is ever 100% perfect, Capricorn. If we want to find something that we're upset about, we will find it. Moving into November, we have the Five of Cups with the rune Fertility. And we have the King of Pentacles. So again, you may feel like there's not a lot of people to connect to, or, you know, it's kind of like that period where you have to let everything fall away before anything new comes in. But you definitely need to pick your head up, because like I said, the things that you speak on and fixate on are going to manifest a lot more rapidly than normal. And anything that you're feeling sad about is not news to you, okay? They're things that people have either told you before, or you knew were going to happen, or they happened a long time ago. And again, there's nothing wrong with getting in this energy, but if you feed into it, fertility, if you feed into it, you know, that's not an energy that you're going to want to create momentum behind, okay? So definitely reach out. You may need to reach out to a different social circle than normal to find a new job if you're looking for a new job, or you may need to go into a new avenue, or go back to an old avenue that you haven't dealt with in a while. Go where the opportunity seems most abundant in the skill set that you have, even if it's not necessarily your ideal one. And again, I don't mean put your priorities aside or don't do what you want to do, but sometimes this can be an energy of just kind of like being in a pity party. So make sure you use your discernment. As always, you guys know I do the mid-month readings. If you want information on that, you can go in the description box below. I also do love readings, which go from mid-month to mid-month. So when you buy a mid-month reading, you get both of those. There's a couple different ways you can get those. Also, some people that are subscribed to me are commenting and emailing saying they're not getting notifications from YouTube when I upload. So hit the bell button if you want to be notified right away. I've also been uploading oracle readings for the moon cycles, which go on Instagram TV first. So follow me there, again, in the description box if you want to know first. I am in a joyous, intimate relationship with a person who truly loves me. My partner is the love of my life. We adore each other. I want to let y'all know that I've only pulled this card when I'm single as hell. So it's important to be in a joyous, intimate relationship with yourself. Okay? If we've never been in a space where like we really enjoyed our company, like I'm talking about like where people ask you to go out and you're like mad that means you can't spend intimate time with you. And especially for those of you that write poetry or music or anything like that, I feel like that relationship that you have artistically with yourself, you need to kind of expand upon that and be your own partner and be your own best friend. Again, not that real humans aren't important, but I feel like you need to adore every single part of you and learn how to love just every fiber of your being, even the parts that are ugly or undesirable, okay? Because you're coming into a whole new phase, and it's going to be really, really important that you are loving you and very confident in everything you have to offer. All right, Capricorn? Love you.